Fantastic. I think we are live. Beautiful. It's kind of loud. I don't have my headphones on. This is draft number 1 of frequently asked questions. It's kind of loud. There we go. So we're going to be putting up on the website the most frequently asked questions in the Savitur office. And I thought that I would go through each of them verbally as we will be answering them on our new website that I'm very excited. By the time this is aired, we should be really close to airing our new website. What is an essential oil versus a hydrosol or a carrier oil? An essential oil is the volatile DNA, the brain of the botanical. It is steam distilled or cold pressed or alcohol distilled, and then the different components are available. Now, when you have a hydrosol, you're taking the byproduct, you're taking the material, putting it into a container, you're running water underneath it, creating steam. If water were in the material, that would be a hydrodistillation. So you're running water underneath it, that steam is coming up through the plant material, causing a condensation that you then put through a cooling tube, and on the other side of that cooling tube comes a liquid. Out of that liquid is what we refer to as a hydrosol. And for about every gram of hydrosol, you'll get about 32 ounces or a liter of hydrosol. And the hydrosol is the byproduct now of the steam distillation, as is the essential oil. So the hydrosol does contain both water, aqua, and oil. So you'll often see it listed as an aqua distillate. A flower oil like rose water is different than a hydrosol. Rose water is generally taken with the rose petals, and then what we call maceration. It's in water, pure water, high quality water. It soaks in the water for 4 weeks, 6 weeks, and then the essence of that water, after straining the petals, becomes a rose water. So you have an essential oil, which is the raw material, the DNA, the hydrosol, which is the byproduct containing both water and oil. Then you have the essence of, or the water of, which is where the plant material sits in water. And then a carrier oil is the fatty plant matter of, say, an olive, jojoba nut, apricot seed or kernel. Carrier oils are oils that are much less expensive, and you put the essential oils into the carrier oils, and then it allows the body to absorb the essential oil. Not all essential oils should be absorbed by the body. So we'll talk about that later when we talk about the process of inhaling or the process of putting one into a diffuser or ingesting. So we have a carrier oil, which is how we apply the essential oil into the skin, or you can use a carrier oil in the hair. Carrier oils are a wonderful way of keeping moisture on the skin. Botanicals can interfere with certain pharmaceutical drugs, generally your MAOI inhibitors, generally people who are taking plant thinner or blood thinners. So please specifically speak to a naturopathic or an essential oil expert before using any of your medications where you're working with the nervous system. I'm going to leave it at that because it can be a cross-contamination. Are essential oils allergenic? If I'm allergic to an herb, will I be allergic to the essential oil? I've been asked that about lavender a few times. I've been asked that about some different, jojoba nut. If I have a nut allergy, will I be allergic to jojoba nut oil? Almond oil, yes, if you're allergic to almonds. Lavender oil and the lavender plant sometimes are different. So you can test this by taking the lavender cap, smelling it, see what that does. If you're drawn to it, then it may not be a challenge for you. Then take a tiny bit of the oil and put it on the inside of your arm where it's sensitive. Wait 24 hours, see what that does. If you're allergic to the herb, it may be just that form. If you're having a reaction to an essential oil, I would offer you to try it from a different company. Just because it's organic does not mean it's safe. And just because it has a registered trademark does not mean it's safe. Our botanicals, how do you know which ones, which types to use? So you use the different types of oils differently. A cold pressed oil is going to be a citrus oil. This is going to be a top note oil. This is an oil that you will smell first in the bouquet. This is an oil that's bright and light. This is also an oil that will expire faster. A cold pressed oil will be grapefruit, lemon, orange, lime. It can be distilled and then it's not a cold pressed oil. And orange, if you have bitter orange, that generally comes from the rind. Also, then it would not be a cold pressed oil. Most cold pressed oils are photosensitive. So you have to be very sure and careful to not put that directly on the skin and then have the skin be in the direct sunlight. You can do what's called a palm inhalation and take your essential oil, put it into the palms of your hands, breathe in deeply. It directly penetrates the limbic system. You put that also on your low back over the adrenals. You can also put that on the bottoms of your feet. On the bottoms of your feet would be wonderful to have a carrier oil as well, especially if you're going to bed at night. Now, you don't necessarily want to carry your oil on the bottoms of your feet if you're going to be putting your shoes and socks on. Coconut oil is also a carrier oil. That's an oil that we generally will hear about being fractionated so that it stays in the liquid form. I do not recommend using a fractionated anything. Never alter the components of the original plant. Allow yourself to use them in different proportions or at different times of the year as nature suggests. Are botanicals safe to ingest or put on the skin? Well, as I said, we can do a palm inhalation. We can put it into a diffuser. You're breathing it in. So it does need to be of high grade quality. Ingestible safe because it's going into the mucous membranes. Ingestible safe means you might be putting it into some honey and then adding that to your tea water. It might be you're adding it to a lemon and then squeezing the lemon into like a drop of lavender into a lemon, and then squeezing the lemon into a pitcher of lemonade that you're making. You could take basil oil and lemon oil and add that to an olive oil and place that in a salad dressing. You do, again, really need to use extreme caution because essential oils are very volatile. They will burn the mucous membrane. They will create an issue. So contact somebody who's very familiar with how to ingest them. And don't just take somebody's word for it because the components have been altered that makes it safe. I feel that makes it more dangerous. I don't think the body was designed to ingest isolates of different products. I think it works best when we use the whole product. We just need to know the ratio which to use it and what other products to put around it to keep it safe. So where do the Savitur Botanicals products come from? I have a wonderful partnership and agreement with all sorts of biodynamic, sustainable farms throughout the world. I'm part of a co-op of farmers out of France that has partnerships in South Africa, in Australia, in India, all over where herbs grow indigenously to how they best support the immune system. So the soil that they grow under, the altitude that they are at, the amount of water that that particular climate gets per year, and then the heirloom longevity of the plant, the actual seed, makes all the difference in the world when you're studying the actual oil. When you're looking at a certificate of analysis, we also get what's called a gas chromatography mass spectrometry test. And in that test, it will give us the breakdown of each of the different components. There are hundreds of components. So when you see an essential oil on a particular company's website, and they're only showing you 15 of the components, they're just showing you the basic profile and components that you may be looking for as the signature that makes up that oil. you're not seeing the full breakdown, and that gives you much more of a readout. It's like saying, go pick out my friend Susan from the crowd. She has blonde hair, blue eyes, and dark skin. Well, that could really fit a lot of different people. We need to be much more specific with the DNA of Susan, and just even all of the people named Susan. They're much more concentrated than that. So when Savitur is creating a partnership, we like to know that everything that they action on the farm is actually reducing the carbon footprint, not contributing to it. We want to make sure what the products are that they're putting onto the plant to keep it from infestation. We want to know what's going to happen in the event of a drought or a monsoon of some sort. What's going to happen if we lose the crop? Where would we get our backup crop from? Those are the agreements that we have with the different global co-ops. And because I'm large enough but small enough, I'm able to get that first cream of the crop oil that's not going to be heavily mass produced. And then the outline crops and the crops that are there and available to those as a backup or for a mass produced company, they have an entirely different lay of the land that I choose from. That's what makes Savitur a little bit more unique and special. How do botanicals work with the immune system? We're actually borrowing the DNA. So when you have, for example, an herb that grows and breaks up rocks, that particular herb would be excellent to use to break up kidney stones. That's kind of the way that essential oils are understood and studied, and then we use them based on their components and properties. Linalool, for example, is a wonderful skin component, and it really helps to heal skin tissue. That's why there's a high concentrate of linalool in lavender oil and in rose oil. Those are the different elements that we borrow from the plant matter, and when we keep it in contact, we don't break it apart, we don't take out the isolate to take only its best parts, we use the whole plant in different proportions. How do oils work with the immune system, and then are they safe with pregnancy and babies? So I explained how they work with the immune system, the DNA, but then that also, we need to understand that with babies, they have a very, very intense and sensitive immune system. They're very, very susceptible to things around us, as are elderly people. So the hydrosol, that fluid that's the byproduct of the steam distillation that has both the water components and oil, wonderful to use for babies. Often you can just spray it into the air, same with pets, but it has to be an oil that is tolerable by a young or elderly or animal immune system. Again, please seek a professional practitioner. There are some oils that are specifically designed for babies that are wonderful, and some to stay away from. When in doubt, use a carrier oil like jojoba oil, because it's like our skin's natural sebum, and then spray a hydrosol into the jojoba like rose or lavender, and then you can use that to do a baby massage for soothing and calming. Pregnancy too. Some oils can be irritating. Generally, mama can smell and tell you whether or not it's appealing. If it's harmful to her, her body will not desire it in any way. Is there a governing body that certifies essential oils? There are two governing bodies that we do work with in the essential oil industry, and I will list them at the bottom and their websites. They are governing bodies that host yearly education centers and that offer different sorts of services. Again, you can check out their website. How is the quality of a product determined? As I said, you can have a certificate of analysis and again, a gas chromatography mass spectrometry. It depends on where that oil grows. It depends on the year that the soil received the amount of moisture that it is. It is tested, and then there are different certification networks globally that all have an opinion as to what they feel is ideal or best. And you do have scientists who've been working with essential oils since early 70s. It's been documented, and of course, much before that. But we have some pretty clear clinical evidence from Dr. Kurt Schnaubelt in the early 70s, who said to be concerned in the future for companies that start to pull apart isolates and sell them off, claiming that they're better. So these are some of the things that these governing bodies talk about and address at the annual conferences. What is the quality of an oil? How is it determined? What are the differences between an essential oil company and, say, a multi-level marketing company? So a multi-level marketing company would be a doTERRA, a Young Living, a Mayo, I believe Dr. Josh Axe, and I think Isogenics. So a multi-level marketing company means you have an upline and you have a downline. It also means that their product has a trademark. So it's not just a headache remedy or a formula, but it's an oil that has a trademark behind the single oil. So a lavender, a eucalyptus, frankincense. They're taking one oil, trademarking it. That is a flag that they have created their own version of it. It is not a natural oil that you would find in nature. They've taken out the components, they've created isolates, and then they've allowed it to follow a basic chemical profile of the requested single oils, and they will make a statement on there or a claim that it's the best, which is why there's a trademark, that they have a team of scientists that have determined that it's the most beneficial. My opinion of that is that there are different reasons to use frankincense, rosemary, or eucalyptus. So we like to have the different species left untouched, uncompromised, so that the practitioner can advise the user with what ratio of rosemary or frankincense or eucalyptus they may want to have. And if they want a pure rosemary Sunil or a pure rosemary verbena, they have that as an option, rather than taking 24 species of frankincense and making one version that is to suit all. So a multi-level marketing company will create their own trademark for that. Now, a mass-produced company, say Frontier, I believe, has essential oils, or Acacia, Wyndham. So they buy their products from the outlying crops, and they have wonderful agreements. They can recreate land after 5 years, call it organic, and then sell you on a plant that might be new and understudy, or new and come from a different region. As long as it fits the profile of lavender and fits the category of organic, then it is generally recognized as safe. When you have a small batch farm, that's going to be a company like Savitur, where I'm meeting the farmers and I am able to test each particular batch and have the first say at whether or not I want that particular batch or move on to the next, because my draw from the batch isn't so large that that symmetry has to be. I can have a smaller batch, so I'll be able to take it from a farm that's closer in, and that makes, again, a unique pattern or path to how we harvest the oils here in Savitur. How much do essential oils cost? Well, you can have a small teaspoon of orange oil that's $6 or $7, and then a same teaspoon of frangipani, also known as plumeria, that would be $125. So the oils are priced basically at how complicated the process is to distill, how available the plant is, how much variety we have within that particular plant. You'll need to go to each particular oil on the website to discover what the price is. Basically, you can look to spend between $10 to $15 or $10 to $30 on the oil, depending upon what type of oil it is that you are looking to get. A hydrosol is much less, a carrier oil even less. Wellness blends are generally a little bit more expensive because we've taken the different oils, put them in the right proportions, and then there you're getting a trademark for the formulation that has been designed based on education. What type of education does the founder of Savitur Botanicals have? I am the founder of Savitur Botanicals. My name is Somah, and I have been educating myself on essential oils since 2012. So for whatever year it is that you're listening or reading this, the idea is that I have been educating myself first and foremost in the public field. And then I went to India and I studied with the different farmers and I watched how they took care of the crops. Then I came back to India for 2 months and I worked up in the fields and I learned how to use them in clinics and in medicinal forms. Then I started to have people who wanted to learn about oils and purchase oils. So I began a website and I started to track all of my education. At that point, I started to take some different courses from some different American reputable companies. I'm not going to list them here. Please email me directly and I'm happy to disclose those that I studied with. I then took a national Americanized, recognized aromatherapy certification program. I then studied Ayurveda for 3 years, where we worked with the herbs, the oils, and the different immune system processes. I then had a living practicum in my home for 4 years, where I treated people, consulted people, and traded, didn't accept money. I traded for my services with other things that were necessary so that I felt that it was a form of an internship. In 2015, I officially transferred into my business full-time and became a full-time educator and a consultant and an aromatherapist. I have gone back to India 2 to 3 times per year. In 2018, was invited to go study in France, in Provence, and then I was able to meet with the World Co-op headquarters in Belgium with some original sourcing people linked back even into Horst and the original creator of Aveda. So again, please feel free to reach out for any further information based on my essential oil specifically. I do have also took a follow-up class on the chemistry, physiology, and anatomy of essential oils. And that was a fantastic master course to take. What are Savitur products in the way of testing and certification globally recognized? So you have EcoCert and Biodynamic. And EcoCert is an original company out of France that certifies all sorts of biological companies. They certify wines, they certify herbs, they also have certified essential oils. And Michel Manouflier was a part of having that process happen. And there again, I was invited out to his space in France, got to see the backdrop of what the certification process was for EcoCert. Biodynamic means that all of the actions on the farm are reducing the carbon footprint, and there is now a certification where they can come and attest that as well. So it's more than just organic, because that's a no-brainer. You see on the farm where the plant has been grown, where the seed has come from, how they're processing it, what it's doing to the air. So biodynamic is far more of the catch buzzword for a properly sourced, properly sustainable, properly batched essential oil, not just organic. Can I sell my Savitur products if I don't have a store or a text ID? If you wish to person sell Savitur products, absolutely. Please contact me and I will explain the process behind how that can happen. Can you put your own label on a Savitur oil? Absolutely. You can purchase in bulk. You can purchase 5 milliliters all the way up to 10 gallons. All of our products are available for resale. They're available for me to help you reformulate, help you get your own shop set up, whether it's a virtual shop or a brick and mortar. I can absolutely get you moving and explain to you a simple process. We do offer wholesale and bulk purchasing if you're a regular purchaser. If you don't see a product that you're looking for, please send us an email. We would love to source it for you if we don't have it, or explain to you why we don't carry it. Why are Savitur oils the best? Well, why don't you comment back? What have you learned? We will give you your oil in any size. We will help you support and supply your own store. We will offer education. We will put you in touch of your own sourcing if that's what you wish to do in the future. I look forward to seeing you on your path. I am passionate about high quality, sustainable essential oils, and I am so excited to have you on the path with Savitur. Welcome. Thank you for joining me.